What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2019 Winnebago Revel 4x4. Up front is a 3.0-liter turbo diesel V6, and down below is a 7-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this mini Winnie for several reasons. First of all, I'm always excited to give you guys a tour of what a van life vehicle would be. This is built by Winnebago, although it's based off of a Mercedes, which is kind of confusing, but I'll talk about that in a second. But the second reason is that I am new to RVing. I recently went on my first RV trip, and so I'm excited to kind of compare and contrast two different RVs that might be in a similar price range. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. Last but not least, huge thank you to Chicago Cars US for letting me borrow their Winnebago Revel 4x4. They are absolutely wonderful. They have tons of really cool and unique inventory on their website, so please go check them out with the link down in the description below. But let's get back to that 3-liter V6 under the hood. Well, this is all Mercedes drivetrain because it is built off of the Mercedes Sprinter platform. So the 3-liter turbo diesel V6, pretty standard Mercedes stuff, pretty reliable, decent power, and I like the powertrain. Like I said, paired to it is an automatic transmission. And again, no complaints, standard Mercedes stuff there. However, it is 4-wheel drive. Now you can get the Revel in 2-wheel drive, but this is 4-wheel drive, which opens up a lot of capabilities. It's lifted up a little bit, has chunkier, knobbier tires as well, so no trail is too far out of bounds. If you want a backcountry camp, this is kind of what you want. So very, very cool to see that. How does it feel to drive the Winnebago Revel? Well, it's actually pretty easy. It drives just like a big Sprinter van because it is, and it doesn't feel too daunting. It is big. You got to use your mirrors. You are very tall. That's kind of the most downside that you get here is how tall you are. And you do feel kind of top heavy, but honestly, if you've driven bigger vans, there's not much else to it. There's no special weird things, and I like that a lot. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 physical gauges and a screen. Off to the left is my speedometer and fuel, off to the right is a tachometer and coolant temperature, and then I get that customizable gauge screen in the center. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our home buttons as well as our adaptive cruise, which is very, very nice. And off to the right, we have our home button, back, volume, phone options, things like that. Off to the left, we do have a climate vent, headlight switch, front and rear fog light switch and gauge dimmer switch, as well as an added switch for the front yellow fog lights. Absolutely love that look. And moving on to the door, we have a grab handle to get in and out, power mirrors, power windows, and power locks. Moving into the center, we get our standard Mercedes infotainment. So like the CLAs we've driven and things like that, has the same infotainment, so nothing new there. We do have nice buttons for the parking cameras, a switch for the volume, as well as our car button that will give you some information about the Sprinter. And down below, we have our climate controls, single zone climate, temperature off to the left, where to send it down below, and fan speed off to the right. Very simple. And then we have this added cup holder area, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test, and I'm happy to report that the Winnebago Revel does in fact pass the big friggin' bottle test. But then we get a door button in the center and no center console beyond that. The seats are comfortable. They are what I would expect out of Mercedes. Pretty taut leather, however, they are comfortable, and I could see multiple hundreds of miles being soaked up by these without too much thought. However, I've been racing through the front half, so we could talk about the back half and the actual RV part of the van. So let's hop around there and do a living space review. All right, let's do a rear living compartment review. So we do have power doors, which is really, really nice. They are a little bit slow, but definitely nice to see. Right off the bat, we do have a fold down table. There is a leg that you would put in, but then you could have this fold down table for cooking or any extracurricular activities. Love to see that. Down here, we do have Phillips and drains for the fresh water and the winterizing, so your water tanks are right there. Actually, before we step inside, we do have a couple of switches down here. So this is for the awning. So we do have a power awning up there that will extend. We also have our outside lights and tank fill. but we can step up in here, and we do have a seat with seat belts. So this is a big thing. Everyone assumes that you could just hang out in the back of an RV while it's driving. You actually have to have seat belts. So this is a federally legal seat that you can sit in, so you can drive with 3 people in here, which is very, very nice. We do have some storage up here, some cups and things like that. We also get storage up above the driver because this is the high roof version. And then we have a giant control panel here. So as we'll talk about in a second, we can raise and lower the rear bed. So we will raise it up out of the way here for the beginning part of this. We have furnace system, hot water, fan, all of this ran together. These are all very tactile, very real switches, where the Grounded that we recently reviewed had a phone app to carry all of this. We also have a water pump and things like that. We have our solar charge controller and things of that nature. We can come down here and close the power door if you want an idea of what it's like in here. We do have a little fold up extension here as well. Put that back down. We have a sink with a sink cover. This is very, very nice. So you fold this up, you could actually use the sink, but nice to have a cover in case there is water in here or something. You hit the brakes, it's not gonna splash. You do get one little stove top in there. Have a refrigerator and some nice drawers down below. Some essentials in there. So very, very cool. Outlet right here. Another outlet right here. We have more storage. Again, all these buttons, all of these handles, you push in and then you push out. And then here we are in the back. So we do get a nice seating area. You can sit down, hang out back here. And it is pretty nice. You know, this is kind of a place you could have some food or things like that. You do get storage down below the seats, and of course you could open up these rear doors and enjoy whatever view you're getting out at the campsite. Coming back around here, and now there are chairs in here, but you can use this as a shower and a bathroom. So it just has a little tiny toilet in there as well as a shower, but they are using that for chair storage at the moment, but very, very nice to see that on board. So you do get a bathroom, which is sweet, and you could lock it up there. You do get a fan up here as well. Overall, in the back here, it's not crazy amounts of space. And here is the bed as well. So there you go. That is the bed. But bring it right back up. Very, very cool to see. It is a livable amount of space, and honestly, I am truly impressed with everything that they were able to pack in. I'm trying to get a wide angle shot here of the back of the RV. Very, very cool to see all of that. So now it's time to do an exterior review, and as you can see, they do have added off-road lights. Absolutely love that. Coming around the side here, you do get a ladder up to the very top. There are solar panels up there as well as the air conditioning unit. Here's just a little access panel. Love to see that. We have a city water fill plug there. An outlet over here gets you a nice back angle of it. You could see that they've added extra space here past where the normal Mercedes Sprinter would stop. They've kind of pushed that out. It says Winnebago up at the top. You get a spare tire mount on the very back. And coming around the other side, you have 2 more outlets off to the right down here. Love to see that for any outside hookups or lights. You do have that awning that will extend as well, and the power door. The power door is only on this side. It is only on the passenger side. Kind of a throwback to the 90s with that, but that is so you could fit more stuff on the other side because the bathroom's over there and whatnot. Overall, I think the Sprinter or Winnebago Revel does look cool. It is kind of lifted with the chunkier tires, so it definitely looks the van life part, especially from where I'm standing. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Winnebago Revel 4x4? Well, first of all, I've really liked this experience. This is a good van, and honestly, this is the most enticing for living on the road and van life culture. A, it's diesel. It's going to be efficient, and I could fill it up at almost any gas station in America. I say that because the last RV that I reviewed was the Grounded G3, which was electric, and that posed many problems in terms of range and where I could take it. This, as long as you got diesel, you are good to go. I like the space. I think they've maximized the usage of space pretty well. I think with one other person, this would be a perfect little trip. 3 people, it might start to become a crowd and might get a little bit too much, but that's okay. And it's not too big to drive. as I said with the grounded G3, and I feel the same way about this, is that I could pull up to a shopping center and park. Yeah, I'll probably take up 2 spots, maybe a spot and a half, but I can park it at places. I could park it on the street if I take up 2 spots. It's not a 39.5-foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, crazy motorhome. This is actually livable. You could keep this at your house and probably not have the HOA barking up a storm. And I like that. I like the livability. This is a very sensible RV. It's a very usable RV. And honestly, it's everything that I would need. If I had a family of 12, well, I'd have a lot of other problems, but space would be a big issue. But I don't. And so honestly, I would love to take this out on a trip, to see the country through this. And the fact that it's 4-wheel drive opens up so many more opportunities. It really is something special. Now, originally in 2019, this would have cost $200,000, which is a pretty penny, but in the world of RVing, it's not as expensive as it gets. And this also makes the grounded G3 look pretty good because that has a lot more space for that similar $200,000 budget. However, this runs off of diesel, so you could fill it. It has a lot more mileage, a lot more range than the grounded G3, and this can tow without impacting the range so significantly. Or at least if it does impact the range, you could still fill up anywhere. So this is able to flat tow a vehicle so you could bop around town without taking your big RV, even though I think this is a pretty livable size. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Chicago Cars US for letting me borrow their Winnebago Revel 4x4 for today's video. They are absolutely wonderful. They have tons of really cool inventory. They always have a few of these sitting on the lot. So if you are interested, please go check out Chicago Cars US here in Summit, Illinois. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.